Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Wednesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Back here talking more Pittsburgh sports news on this Wednesday night, and going to be honest, not too much to talk about here today. We will get into some of the loose end stuff that has come across in the past 24 hours. The big story today that we will start off the show with here in a second, Mike Tomlin, his name being mentioned again by former players, except one player this time saying, hey, Tomlin, maybe time for a change of scenery, maybe do something that you said one time before. Never say never, but never. A former Pittsburgh Steeler mentioning Mike Tomlin for a college head coaching vacancy. I'm sure if that gets brought up to Tomlin, well, first off, good luck to whatever reporter does come up with that. But if it does get brought up to Tomlin, I'm interested to see what his reaction will be. We'll get into this Tomlin being brought up for a head coaching vacancy situation. We'll also talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers' first practice report of the week heading into this crucial game on Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens, the battle for the top of the AFC North. Adam Thielen claimed off of waivers yesterday. He in the Berg today in black and gold. Was Aaron Rodgers practicing? All of that we will talk about then. After that, mention a little bit of news surrounding the Pittsburgh Pirates, mainly a development in something we talked about yesterday. Now that story has grown legs, a Pittsburgh Pirate player commenting on his future with the team, potential future, I should say. We'll get into that, and then extra Pittsburgh sports news to wrap up the show. All of your comments sprinkled in throughout the evening here today. Before we get things going here on this Wednesday evening, first off, if you are new here, welcome to the channel. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you never miss a live stream or video here on the channel again. Also, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and tune back in later tonight for SCSR 60. But right now, like this live stream, share this live stream in the comment section. Any thoughts, questions, or opinions that you may have, feel free to put those in there. We will chat about those as the show goes along here this evening. Like I said, going to start off with Mike Tomlin under fire once again. He's been everywhere criticism-wise for the past 3 days now, ever since that another terrible loss where the Steelers did not bother to show up in the second half against the Buffalo Bills. Tomlin has been grilled all week long from national media outlets, from fans, and now even former players. They are getting their whack at the piñata that is Mike Tomlin's coaching performance as of recently. And now you have former Steelers calling for his firing, but one Steeler had an interesting twist. Ben Roethlisberger, on his Footballin' podcast that he does every single week, he mentioning today on today's episode of his Footballing podcast that, hey, Tomlin, things aren't working here. Maybe it's time for him to have a change of scenery. Said it's time for the Steelers to clean house, and it would be a fresh start for Tomlin and a fresh start for the organization. Agree with that wholeheartedly. I love Ben bringing that up. He, of course, what he says, it's going to come with a lot of weight, having played for Mike Tomlin for most of his career. So him turning on Tomlin, that is going to be paid attention to more than anything else. Another former Steeler that chimed in on this, who went scorched earth pretty much, James Harrison, Debo, he pretty much saying Tomlin doesn't have it as a coach anymore, criticized him heavily, saying something has to be done. I think it's time that history be made, meaning the Steelers fire a head coach and buck the trend that, hey, once a coach is here, he's going to be a long-term stable at the top for the organization. Debo also saying right now the only history we're making is being the worst Pittsburgh team statistically in team history, which this defense, it is on pace to be one of the worst in team history. So Debo factually stating that. I want to say, I'm trying to remember a couple of stats. This defense has given up over 4 games of 30 or more points, comparing those to the defenses of the early 2010s, late 2000s when Tomlin took over. It is night and day difference between these defenses. So Debo, Big Ben going off on their former head coach. But then Big Ben brought up something interesting, and he floated this wild idea, which this isn't the first time that this has been said. A quote here from Big Ben: Tomlin, go be Penn State's head coach. You know what he would do at Penn State? He'd probably go win national championships because he's a great recruiter. That is going to sprout a lot of legs. I believe there's multiple posts out there where this has now been seen over 1 million times, just about. Tomlin to Penn State. Is it going to happen? No, but is it a worthwhile, you need to talk about it topic? Absolutely, because we remember Mike Tomlin not too long ago was brought up with him, would you go coach college football? And his answer: I don't have time for that speculation. That's a joke to me. I've got one of the best jobs in all of professional sport. Never say never, but never. There's not a booster with a big enough blank check. He said that many, many years ago, but now it makes you reevaluate that comment, because you got reports recently, as of last week, saying a longtime NFL head coach could use a change of scenery. Nothing is rosy right now with the Steelers. It feels like there might be some strife internally between Mike Tomlin and maybe ownership. Art Rooney might start be able to sour on the idea of the job of what Tomlin is doing so far. So now you look back at that comment and you look at how things have divulged into the situation today. Gotta wonder, could it happen? Could Tomlin go to Penn State? They still don't have a head coach after firing James Franklin and every other head coach that I've seen that's been rumored. Oh, Penn State's looking at this guy. Oh, they're looking at that guy. Well, pretty much everyone mentioned to Penn State so far has either re-signed with their current team on a lucrative contract or have gone elsewhere. I think the latest, the offensive coordinator, something Hartline for Ohio State, Penn State was rumored to be on him, and now he is going to be the head coach of USF. So, just crazy stuff there from Ben saying, could Tomlin be Penn State's head coach? Never say never, but never. But Tomlin, now things are starting to get really, really bad, and he's going to have some offers NFL-wise. He might take those. But if all else fails, could Tomlin go to Penn State? I don't know, but it might be time to start having that discussion, because, nothing is going to fix anything going on with the team this year. It seems like year by year, this inevitable divorce that's going to come sooner or later between the Steelers and Tomlin, it is going to be an ugly one. But Big Ben bringing up Penn State, it makes you think a little bit more. Mainly, I just brought this up because I want to see how Tomlin answers this question if it's brought up to him again. I said back then, I'm never answering another question about college football again. I'd just love to see him answer it now, because this season is completely in the crapper and there's no coming out of it at this point. So what are your guys' thoughts on what Big Ben had to say? Could Tomlin go to Penn State? Interesting that Big Ben brought up if he goes there, he'd probably go win national championships because he's a great recruiter. Question though, Ben, wasn't James Franklin, when he was at Penn State, viewed as an elite recruiter? And look where that got Penn State. Can win, the easy games, but can't win the big ones. It's eerily similar. James Franklin's, overlook of a college head coach to Mike Tomlin's. You recruit all of this great talent because you're a people person, and then when the lights shine brightest and you have to play a real team, then you really stub your own toe while the other team takes advantage of every miscue you make. It's kind of sounds like a Tomlin in a playoff game, but hey, what do I know? That'd be hilarious if Tomlin goes to Penn State. That would probably be the wildest news story of the century for professional sports. And also now it's not like Tomlin would be the first, popular, very successful NFL head coach to then go and coach college football. We just saw Bill Belichick do that last year. I mean, sure, doesn't work out there in UNC. He'll probably be out of there if I had to guess this offseason. But hey, Bill Belichick sets the precedent. Maybe Tomlin could reevaluate and follow. I mean, I doubt he would need to, have a 24-year-old girlfriend to go to Penn State like Bill Belichick in his situation down in USC. But hey, there's precedent now with Belichick. Things aren't going well here in Pittsburgh. There's still the opening at Penn State. A lot of pieces to the puzzle are there. It's just a matter of if anybody's going to put them together. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? Big Ben mentioning Tomlin for the Penn State job. Be crazy. But hey, this season's been crazy, and why not throw another storyline into this season from hell that has sent us on a whirlwind of emotions? To the comment section we go here. Concepts in the comment section. Welcome back. Prediction: Raheem Morris replaces Austin as DC next year after Atlanta fires him. Total shot in the dark. Okay, so you think Atlanta's firing Raheem Morris? That is going to be interesting. They're going to let him go after one full season with Michael Penix, who he drafted at the helm. Here's my give and take with that. Their concept: would Raheem Morris probably be way better than Terrell Austin as a defensive coordinator? Yes, because Austin, I mean, it's from a Steelers fan perspective here, it's hard to, identify what, he's coaching on defense compared to what Tomlin has in there already. He's just reading off of. So I would be a little interested in Raheem Morris, but I think where some Steelers fans would get turned off by that big time is that they'd view it as another, here comes one of Tomlin's buddies, like Matt Canada and a Terrell Austin, another yes man who Tomlin's doing a favor here. I mean, I like Raheem Morris as a defensive coordinator, but I think tons of fans would be, like, come on, another, Tomlin guy. Where's our young, bright defensive mind who's going to show some more exotic looks on this defense? We don't need another retread in here that's just going to be a yes man to Tomlin half the time. So I think that's the give and take that you have with their concepts. It is an interesting idea, an idea that I haven't thought of yet. Another comment here from Concepts: Tomlin will go to Penn State to scout players in the draft. Yeah, he will. Though, haven't really heard anything of scouts for the Steelers going to Penn State ever since Drew Aller got hurt. I remember earlier in the season when Aller was still, playing before he got hurt, you would hear every other weekend, hey, a Steeler scout is in Happy Valley to take a look at Drew Aller. But since then, haven't really seen anything mentioned of the Steelers or Penn State scouting wise at all. So Tomlin will go meet with some players from Penn State, but that will only be, Senior Bowl, draft combine, that sort of stuff. So just wanted to lead off the show with that. Thought it was crazy. Big Ben, all-time great Steelers quarterback, mentioning the current Steelers head coach to one of the, well, I won't say one of the premier college football programs out there, probably, the best of the second tier in Penn State. So just thought that was interesting. By the way, National Signing Day started today in college football. How about Penn State? They are like all the way down with Harvard, like in terms of strength of the recruiting class. Thought that was crazy. Where Pitt Panthers are, they're probably middle of the road somewhere. They did get a couple of good players today, signed a good young lineman, Chris Hoke, former Steelers defensive tackle, his son committing and signing with Penn State today. Pitt also got a running back. I saw that they've been goo over for 2 years now, and they got a safety to flip his commitment from Missouri to Pittsburgh. So, yeah, nothing going rosy right now for Penn State. Neither same thing goes for Tomlin. So maybe two icons in their respective football worlds at their lowest points in a very long time. Could that maybe lead to some sort of reunion where they think two negatives can make a positive? Who knows, but I seriously doubt it. Concepts again here. I love Big Ben, diehard fan of his. He's the GOAT in my eyes, but I wish he would mention his role in those playoff losses. I keep waiting for accountability from him when he talks about that. Yeah, definitely Ben is at fault for, some of what has went down in the playoffs in Tomlin's tenure. I mean, hell, the Super Bowl that he even won, the defense played out of their minds to pretty much carry the team all the way to the Super Bowl. So could Ben have been way better in playoff games? Yes, but at the end of the day, it still comes down to the head coach because he's been there the longest, and Ben for some of those years was dealing with injuries, of course. So I think people, if you were to poll who's more at fault for playoff losses, they're going to go Tomlin over Big Ben. That's why I often hate when former players go into media. Cough, cough, Ryan Clark, cough. Yeah, Clark, he's with, ESPN? And, I mean, he's, often in heat for stuff he says, both sports takes and otherwise there. So see where you're definitely coming from there. Concepts. Seems like more and more players, they're getting into these media roles, and you got to, listen to 800 podcasts to get everyone's player point of view on things. Like Ben's got his podcast. James Harrison and Joe Hayden, they have a podcast together. Trying to think, Cam Hayward, he right now has a podcast. Even the long snapper for the Steelers, Christian Kuntz, he has a podcast. That tells you how, much players are getting into the media side of things even before their playing careers are over. 9 of you in here right now, welcome to the live stream. On your way in, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Right now, gonna do one quick check. Still hanging around 649 on the subscriber count. One more subscriber to get to 650 tonight. So if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button on your way in. One more comment before we continue along with what went down at the Steelers practice facility today. Day one of practices ahead of their matchup with the Baltimore Ravens this weekend. Got this commenter in here. Tomlin needs to value analytics more on decision-making. He'll punt when he's trailing with 2 minutes left. He'll not call timeouts when save time and respond when they're about to lose the lead, etc. I absolutely agree with that, their user. We just saw it, 2 games ago? Something like that, where Steelers, they're down by 1 score, and with, I think, 2:05 left on the clock, you had the 2-minute warning plus all 3 of your timeouts. You punted the ball on a 4th and 6 or something from midfield. Analytics will tell you got to go for that because, your defense, they're more than likely going to get a stop on 3 straight obvious running plays. You might as well give your offense the attempt of picking up the first down and continuing to keep possession than to risk putting the ball back in the other team's hands. So I agree with you there. Also, this sort of thing was talked about last year. There were a couple of instances where Tomlin's decision-making and clock management came into question again. And I believe that was around the time where there were reports coming out saying the Steelers have one of the smallest coaching staffs in the league, which, I mean, you'd see other NFL teams, they'd have tons and tons of people on their sideline. Maybe the Steelers got to finally take a page out of their book. I'd pay someone, $500, $1,000 a game just to stand there on the sideline, watch the clock, and and, maybe every once in a while feed a whisper into Tomlin's ear saying, hey, you take a timeout here. We can do this. We'll still have time for this if that's what you want to do, stuff like that. So I definitely wish the Steelers would do something like that. But I think, Tomlin, Art Rooney, they're set in their ways where they're going to have these, this coaching staff, one of the smaller ones in the NFL every single year. Hope it eventually changes, but I'm not holding my breath. Concepts here, getting into Steelers practice. We're going to start talking about that here in a second. Thielen looked good in practice, but that's a hard thing to go off of. Still think it's a good pickup and zero risk without trading 3 third or fourth round picks like fans wanted for Myers or Shaheed. Yeah, very valid. I mean, zero risk pickup in Adam Thielen, claiming him off waivers. Did see him in practice today. Let's talk about that, and then I will come back to your comment there, Concepts. Steelers, first practice today. Practice injury report. Going to pop it up on your screen right here. There's a look at it. Still fairly long list for the Steelers, but other thing different in this one than what we've seen in recent weeks is that only 2 players on here, I believe, are only sitting out to rest, and that is DK Metcalf, Jalen Ramsey. Those are the only guys with a resting designation. Everyone else here is dealing with something. Of course, Patrick Queen, the glute injury. Tomlin said yesterday he would be limited to start the week. He did not practice. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. I think we're going to see this thing for the rest of the year with Aaron Rodgers, where he's going to be limited in the first, 2 days of practice, and then will be a full go on Fridays. Still waiting for him, though, when he does get out there on the field to see if he will be able to take snaps under center, like what Tomlin mentioned yesterday. Ben Skoranek, his shoulder injury, he was limited. There's a good sign right there. Dante Kent, limited today in practice. Of course, if you remember Dante Kent, 7th round pick by the Black and Gold in this year's draft, did not play at all this year, has been on IR all year. He is in his 21-day return window starting today. Will he get activated? I honestly highly doubt it, because, he's going to be a rookie with no playing time, trying to get on a moving train, and he mainly, be a special teams contributor over anything. I think the Steelers are pretty set in that department right now, so they're just getting him back out there to do some football activities in my mind, but you'll see him, maybe finally get out there on the field for a game starting next preseason. James Pierre in concussion protocol, limited today. Glad to see that he is limited in that concussion protocol and not a DMP. So that's a positive sign that he will probably get out of the protocol before Sunday. Calvin Anderson, backup tackle behind now Andres Pete at starting left tackle, if I had to say. Limited today with a knee injury. I believe it's first time he's been on the injury report, or maybe he was on last week's injury report. I am not sure. TJ Watt, DMP. Usually he is DMPs are limited on Wednesdays with, no injury designation. Today it is a toe injury. Saw him limping off the field late in the ball game against the Bills last weekend. Think his foot got stepped on. Turns out it's a toe issue for him. I think he did try to play a couple of more snaps late in that game with that injury, but DMP here today and on Wednesday. I assume he'll get back out there on the field tomorrow. And then the last name, of course, here, Derek Harmon. Mike Tomlin mentioning Harmon will not be playing this weekend. This is now his 4th straight practice missed with that knee injury. Still not the same knee injury that he had to deal with in the preseason. So now that he's not practicing to start this week, you got to wonder how serious this injury is compared to his prior one. For the Ravens, though, looking at their injury report, some big names here, again, on their injury report. Lamar Jackson, he's sort of been on this Aaron Rodgers agenda where this injury he's had, he's been limiting early in the week and then getting back on the field in a full capacity for practice later in the week. So I'm not going to take too much stock into Jackson being a limited participant, though I will say it is an ankle injury, and haven't seen Lamar be as fleet of foot as what he used to be over the past couple of years this year. So maybe we're looking at a Lamar Jackson that is still very mobile, near the top of the NFL quarterback rankings in terms of elusiveness, but not a guy who I think is going to take off for, 25 to 50 yard scampers. Hopefully the Steelers don't make this a get right game for him on the ground this weekend. Rashad Bateman, one of Lamar Jackson's 3 outstanding pass catchers. He's also on the injury report, full participant today with an ankle injury. Not going to take too much stock in that. The other starter here for the Ravens mentioned on their injury list today, Nate Wiggins, limited with a foot injury. The back end of this Baltimore defense has been banged up a good bit this season. Wiggins, I believe, missed a handful of games earlier with an injury earlier this season. So that foot injury limiting him today. We'll monitor that throughout the week. Some other guys on here, Tavius Robinson, Ardarius Washington, those guys limited today. They are just fill-ins at their respective positions. Some other notes from Steelers practice here today, like Concepts mentioned, we did get a look at Adam Thielen for the first time in the black and gold, wearing number 16. So Calvin Austin gets to keep number 19. That is the number Thielen wore throughout his career at Minnesota and Carolina, but he is 16 here in the black and gold. Has big shoes to fill for the likes of Robert Woods and Quez Watkins. So hopefully he is better than those guys. Doesn't have really that high of a bar to clear. Did look spry. People say, oh, out goes one guy yesterday, and Darius Slay. More on Slay coming up in the extra Pittsburgh sports news, by the way. But everyone's saying, oh, out goes one old guy, in comes another here in Thielen. I know it's practice, but damn, he actually looks pretty nimble and like he can still make some hay if you give him the ball. 35 years old. So I'd like to see Thielen get out there on the field on Sunday. Steelers normally not a team that's going to give a guy a ton of reps. Haven't been here a couple of days, but Thielen got to get a spark some way on your wide receiver front from a pass catching standpoint, because they are just producing nothing right now. Time to maybe take a risk, throw a guy out there that's only been here a couple of days instead of waiting for him to finally get the full playbook understood. So get him out there, draw him up a couple of plays, and get him involved. Try to get your pass catchers going, because if you can just get one other receiver, consistent looks and consistent catches, that's going to open up DK Metcalf more. That's going to open up your tight ends more. You would love to give Rodgers some more reliable targets to throw the ball to. Also today, mentioned no Rodgers in practice. So that means Mason Rudolph again today, taking first-team reps at quarterback. Will Howard behind him in the quarterback rotation here today. At this point, we've seen what Mason Rudolph is going to be for the rest of the season, probably the rest of his career. At this point, just put Will Howard as your backup and see if, God forbid, Rodgers were to go down and out of the game again with injury, see what you have in Howard. Can't hurt at this point. Also, the Steelers today, they signed linebacker Kanai Muaga to their practice squad. Not sure if a subsequent move is going to come from that, but we'll see. Did hear from Aaron Rodgers post-practice here today. Said it's definitely healing. It didn't come out of the game any worse for wear, so the healing process has continued, and we'll see what happens as far as the type of cast I use come Sunday. That was him on his wrist. Glad to see that despite what Mike Tomlin said yesterday, Tomlin said when Rodgers exited the game for a moment after that big hit from Joey Bosa. It was both the cut on his nose and his wrist. Rodgers today, I guess, maybe just some gamesmanship saying, hey, I'm okay here, even though he may be lying. So hopefully he is telling the truth in that his wrist is getting better. And like I mentioned earlier, hopefully he'll be able to take some snaps under center starting tomorrow, maybe even. Rodgers, by the way, birthday yesterday, had receivers, tight ends, and running backs over to his house. They had a little bit of a half birthday party for Rodgers, decked with a cake and all that, but also just mentioned Rodgers on Sunday saying, hey, receivers, all of you guys, you got to show up to film sessions regularly. Everybody's got to be there. Well, they all watched film at that Aaron Rodgers party, so maybe that little shot at the receiver room through the media sent a message. Hopefully they all showed up to Rodgers' party last night and were able to watch film. Pat Freiermuth denies that, by the way, the final Steeler to comment something of note here today. Freiermuth saying that there's no issues with the attendance of film reviews. Everyone shows up and everyone contributes in a positive manner. I think he just more so talking about being on the same page with signals and stuff. We don't have an issue with guys not showing up. So maybe Rodgers did mean it the way Freiermuth described it there, but the way he worded it sure sounded like some guys aren't showing up. So who's telling the truth? Rodgers, Freiermuth, who knows? Just please, for the love of God, get on the same page before this game on Sunday so that you can not be a complete, dumpster fire against the Ravens. No other way to sugarcoat it, honestly. Okay, going to get back into the comment section here real quick before we switch gears. Another comment here from Concepts. Terry Bradshaw as the clock management assistant would be hysterical, to say the least. Bring back 12. Oh, my goodness. You want to talk about even more drama for the Steelers right now? Don't Bradshaw and Rodgers hate each other? The whole, I don't like Aaron. He's not allowed to wear my number 12 in Pittsburgh, stuff like that. Just, oof. Would be headlines. That'd be a type of thing like that Jerry Jones and the Cowboys would do. Anything to get you a headline. That would be some must-see, drama show type stuff right there. Concepts. Another comment from this user. TJ Watt's toe injury, is it serious? Going to keep him from playing Sunday? If so, we're screwed. I don't think so. Like I said, just got his toe stepped on, I think, against the Bills. And if I remember correctly, the game was out of reach. At this point, it was like under 2 minutes left. And I think Watt was there trotting back out onto the field. So if he's going to, be good to play and finish out that game, which was out of reach. And honestly, I think I yelled at the time, why are we putting Watt back out there? The rest of this game means nothing. If he can finish out that game, I think he'll be able to be good to go against the Ravens. Would it, still hamper his get off and pass rush move set? That's something to be still to be found out. We won't find that out until we get in stadium on Sunday. Comment here from Paulina May. Paulina Mai. Welcome, Paulina. MVS, Thielen, DK, and Washington use the passing game to open up the run, and it will get better that way. Definitely going to hit one by one here. MVS, we talked about it yesterday when they picked up Thielen. Like, all right, what the hell does this mean for Marquez Valdez-Scantling? Dude's been on the practice squad for 3 weeks. It'll be pushing a month now. And you still haven't elevated him to give Aaron Rodgers his buddy that he has some chemistry with. So now that you had Thielen, if you haven't elevated MVS yet, are you going to ever? I would, just to, see if he can be one wide receiver, at least on this team, that knows how to go up and attack a football on a 50-50 ball. But I doubt it. Thielen, I would love to get him going early. One of those sort of in-between guys of what the Steelers currently have. They have small, shifty guys, and then they got Metcalf, who's just a yard after catch guy. The Steelers could use one of those guys that's always going to be in the right place, is going to find a soft spot in the field, get open for Rodgers. Can Thielen be that? Maybe, but maybe not past his prime here. But if you can squeeze just a little bit more paste out of that toothpaste bottle, then that would be just gravy. Metcalf, Washington, I mean, they've been trying to get the balls to those guys. I get Washington the ball more. They sort of didn't target him all that much against the Bills. A few times he got the ball, he was running over guys. I'd give him the ball in the middle of the field every single chance that I could get. Passing game to open up the running game. I think they've been trying to do that there, Paulina. Might be time to try to work it the other way around. They haven't ran the ball consistently for my liking recently, and especially still got Aaron Rodgers, not 100%. Got to run the ball to get the offense settled in and maybe try to make these passing situations for Rodgers some short ones, some short third downs to pick up, because you don't want him taking deep drops and holding on to the ball real long with that wrist injury. Concepts here again, like the Kent pick, so that is good news. Insanely athletic player. Thankfully, Pierre Island seems to be okay as well. Yeah, I did like the Dante Kent investment for a 7th round pick, speed guy out of Central Michigan, I believe. I almost want to say Kent State because his last name is Kent. But I believe Central Michigan speedster guy could contribute returning the ball on special teams. I mainly would like to see how he does in a gunner role on special teams. But like I mentioned earlier, corner right now, Porter, Samuel Jr., Eccles, Pierre. You going to add anyone else to help deliver on special teams right now? I don't know. Be hard for a rookie to, with no sort of preseason, very limited training camp availability. Be hard for him to just get thrown in there late in the season when these games mean so much. Magic in here. Welcome, Magic. Let's win the division on Sunday. Will you win the division with a win over the Ravens? No, because I still have a feeling the Steelers are going to stub their toes at least 3 more times and make this another 9-8 season, 8-9 season, something like that. But would it go a long way in case you're in a tiebreaker scenario with the Ravens at the end of the year? I also would think so. So, yeah, win would be huge here on Sunday. 1 starter and all 3 backup defensive linemen all hurt. That should directly explain and justify the run-stopping issues last week. Harmon, Lowry, Equale, and Loudermilk, that would decimate any team. Still, though, can't give up 250 rushing yards. And they ran the same play 29 times, I think someone counted them up. They ran the same exact running play. They lined up in the same formation 29 times, and they still got 250 yards. I don't care. You can have a college football team out there, and you shouldn't be getting that done to you. So I get it. You know, it's tough with those types of injuries to the D-line, but I mean, some point in the game, make an adjustment, please. Just once, make an adjustment and try something else to stop James Cook. They didn't do enough their concepts. As long as it isn't Moncrief's own number, his drops are burned in my memory. Yeah, Dante Moncrief. Moncrief was Deontay Johnson before Deontay Johnson, except Johnson took it a step further. When he wasn't dropping balls, he would run backwards as well. You should ban me for mentioning him, by the way. You're so welcome. That's all right. I enjoy bringing up these random Steelers from the past, like Dante Moncrief and stuff like that. Black Magic, come to the show later. Get on stage so we can get people on our show. Maybe I'll stop by sometime soon, Magic. We'll give you guys an update, though, about what's going to be going on here on the channel for the rest of the week. This will be the last time this week that we will meet in this type of way. It's going to be the last news stream here for the week. Don't have the banner made for it yet. I'll work on getting the thumbnail together after the live stream tonight. Tomorrow night, we will be live. Instead, it'll be a Pittsburgh Penguins game day live stream. I'm little upset that Flacco isn't in here. If he is in here, Flacco, make yourself known. Tomorrow night, Pittsburgh Penguins, Tampa Bay Lightning down there in Tampa, Flacco's neck of the woods. We will be live for the first time, I think, since pushing 2.5 weeks now, since the Pens were over in Sweden, that we will be live for a Pittsburgh Penguins hockey game. Jake Gensel versus his old team in the Penguins again. That'll always be a fun storyline to watch. So come on back here. Tomorrow night for Pens versus Lightning. That live stream will be on a little bit before 7 o'clock. Concepts, a comment here again. You think MVS is insurance for DK in case of injury, not so much as another option. Sounds dumb as I'm typing it. Just confused why he hasn't been elevated. But I also don't see practice much. That not a dumb question at all. That is a valid thought. MVS, was initially going to be viewed as the guy like, hey, you need a big body, deep threat guy. Even though Metcalf doesn't necessarily fit that mold, you need another tall receiving option besides Metcalf. I thought MVS would be called up by now to be a complement to Metcalf. In that sense, but could he be a replacement? Maybe that's why he's hanging around right now. And maybe the Steelers haven't let go of MVS yet from the practice squad, despite adding Thielen, because just 2 games ago, Metcalf got rolled up twice on his ankle. Maybe they're worried, like, hey, it's going to take one, wrong fall, one wrong cut, and something's going to go in his legs there, and you want to have MVS still in your back pocket to put out there as a tall receiving threat. I'd elevate him, just for the hell of it anyways, because we're now, 39 days or something like that since the Steelers have had a completed pass of 20 or more air yards. So MVS, he's going to be a one-trick pony doing that type of stuff. Got to bring him up at least to give yourself a chance that he might still be able to do that. So, I definitely look at MVS, their concepts. Not a dumb question whatsoever. YA could barely move. He was so gassed. Add Omenahu and Martin, our practice squad guys, and we're bad. No argument at all. Just spot on. Just saying they're insanely gassed by the fourth especially. I could definitely see YA Black getting fatigued as the game goes on. Dude's 330, 340 pounds. Anyone that size is going to get gassed as the game goes along. Omenahu and Martin you bring up. Those 2 guys with Kansas City. Last I saw, Charles Omenahu, wasn't he with the Chiefs? Is he on their practice squad? If so, you got to, scour the practice squads around the league right now to fill in for these guys because, Harmon out, all those other guys you mentioned out. After 250 rushing yards, you're probably going to be staring another performance like that in the face this weekend with Derrick Henry coming to town. I mean, Otamemwo and this Broderick Martin Rhodes, those guys aren't going to get it done. You got to try something. Keep throwing stuff at the wall, seeing if it sticks. Concepts here, F the Ravens, LOL. Flacco, there he is. Always here, F the Ravens. Just had to bring up the Ravens to summon you there, Flacco. We'll be live tomorrow night, Flacco. Not sure if you heard Penguins versus Lightning. The Pens down in your neck of the woods, Tampa. Excited to watch that game tomorrow night. Mark Tobin in here. Why not use the guy Rodgers is familiar with? Exactly. I mean, is he going to be some sort of a savior or be a regular producer? No, but I mean, try anything at this point. Gotta get this passing attack more formidable as the season winds down here. If you somehow stumble into a playoff spot again, all the other playoff losses we've had recently, they're going to look like child's play because this receiving group, tight ends included, has not gotten it done at any sort of point this season. Black should have got more time. He would have been in better shape. Not sure how much more preparation will be able to give him the stamina to go out there. I think he's been working on a rotational guys budget of work the entire season, and 1 week's of practice where, hey, you're the guy down in, down out. That's not gonna boost his stamina any sort of way there. Mark, can't remember the name of our 2D linemen who were elevated. Otamimwo, Broderick, Martin Rhodes, who I meant. Yeah, that's all right. Thought that was what you're getting at. Otamimwo and Broderick Martin Rhodes. 2 names takes a lot to remember there. I'm hoping to be at that game. But if I don't, I will be here. That is awesome, Flacco, that you are trying to go to that game. Have fun if you do go to it. But yeah, we'll be live here tomorrow for Pens and Lightning. And that will be the final weekday live stream of the week, too. There's not going to be anything scheduled here on Friday. Might be a SCSR 60 Friday, but no live stream will be scheduled. Any news, for the Pirates or Steelers tomorrow, we'll talk about it maybe during some commercial breaks and stuff like that tomorrow during the Pens. So Black's first season as well. Yeah, I'm still hoping that even though the YA Black that we saw in the preseason is not even close to the YA Black we've seen recently, I still have hopes for him moving forward in his career. First year, still a rookie. Don't want to put too much pressure on him. 13 of you in here right now. Keep your comments rolling in. But real quick, though, just want to switch gears up for 1 second. Going to get this final top segment of the day out of the way, and then we'll get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news. Going to switch things over to baseball here for a second. Last night brought up something interesting on the Bucks. Alex Stumpf covers the Pirates for MLB.com. He said on a Reddit that he thinks Andrew McCutchen will not be coming back to the Pittsburgh Pirates for next season. He said there are frustrations on both sides, and he is leaning towards Kutch not returning to the Berg. Well, mentioned that last night, and I think I said something along the lines of, I understand if Kutch doesn't want to come back, and I understand if the Pirates are looking somewhere else. The Bucks have been linked to multiple big bats out on the free agent and trade market, where Kutch would then, slot into their priority list. Will probably be lower than usual. And also Kutch, this is going to be his final year coming up, assuming he still plays. He might want to, legitimately go to one of these bigger market teams that's always in the postseason. So I understand all sides here. But then Andrew McCutchen last night, I think a couple of hours after we were done live streaming, left a comment on the post that I was just reading saying, wow, that's news to me. So for kind of the second offseason in a row, I think Kutch did something similar last year where he was rumored, the Bucks aren't going to be bringing back Kutch, and he said, for real? Something along those lines. Kutch doing it again last night, saying that it's news to him, this whole, there's frustrations between both sides, between he and the Pirates. So don't rule out Andrew McCutchen not, staying in Pittsburgh quite yet. Don't, cast him off quite yet. Would he probably be towards the end of free agency type signing if the Bucks swing and miss on some of their big fish, which I could predict that they are? Then maybe he comes back then, but let's not write him off before. Let's not write him off too early here. Though someone is taking the back of Alex Stumpf, however, on Foul Territory, top Pirates writer from last season, Noah Hiles. He got on the Foul Territory TV podcast, and he said toward the end of the season, he sensed a lot of tension between both sides, McCutchen and the Pirates. Doesn't mention did Hiles that it's less likely, but he at least confirming what Stump said, or at least picking up what Stump said and agreeing with it, that there is tension between the Bucks and Kutch right now, but I don't think he said McCutchen returning is less likely or not. So we will keep an eye on this Andrew McCutchen situation as the offseason goes along here. Our Pirate beat writers, they're saying one thing, McCutchen saying, are you sure that's true? Who knows who to believe here? Just thought that was interesting. All right, going to get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news here in a moment. Going to get what little we have there out of the way. Let's go back to the comment section just for 1 second here. Flacco here, just not a fan of going to the game alone. If not, it would be 100%. If you go with someone, if you don't go with someone, hockey games, they're always one of the best and most engaging sports events to go to, in my opinion. Absolutely love going to hockey games. There's always something to pay attention to on the ice. Can't take your eyes off the playing surface any sort of time, and you're really involved in it. Fans are there in hockey. So if you do go, Flacco, enjoy it. You're going to have a ton of fun there just off of personal experience. Agreed on YA Black here, says concepts. Just we didn't have a good situation due to the 4 injuries to all our depth in Harmon. No rotation means exhausted player, especially at D-line. Black is promising. Yep, like I just said, holding out hope for YA Black, but I'm not going to give him too much of a hard time for maybe showing some fatigue late in that game. Been a rotational guy all year, and all of a sudden, hey, it's you, and there's not much behind you, so you're going to need to go out there and do your best. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, getting into the extra Pittsburgh sports news here for the day. Real quick, going to get into the Pittsburgh Steelers again for a couple of quick stories here. Congratulations, top extra Steelers story today. L.C. Greenwood, he has made it a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026 in the seniors category. Greenwood, this is the furthest that he has ever advanced in the Hall of Fame selection process, and he is one step away from election to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He, along with Ken Anderson and Roger Craig, those are the 3 finalists in the senior category. Only one of those 3 will get inducted. It's about damn time that Greenwood makes it in. He, in my opinion, has to get in over those other 2 guys. No disrespect to them, but Greenwood, he's been waiting for this for a long, long time. I think he should definitely get in. Please do the right things there, selection committee. Put L.C. Greenwood in the Hall. Unfortunately, though, former Steelers quarterback, former Steelers scout and executive Art Rooney Jr. and former head coach of the Steelers, Buddy Parker, those 2 gentlemen did not advance. So good luck to L.C. Greenwood. Also, good luck to Ken Anderson. I believe he was a former Steelers quarterback coach. So good luck to him as well. But I think we can all agree Greenwood, he has got to get in this time around. He's so close. Let's push this thing across the finish line. No update, however, on Hines Ward and how he's doing in the semifinalist phase of the modern era players. Hopefully he is able to take one more step here in the Hall of Fame process as well. Back to the Darius Slay waving from yesterday. He's gone. Darius Slay out in Pittsburgh. And today he was indeed claimed. Thought he was going to go unclaimed because of his $10 million contract. But he is getting picked up. And it is former Pittsburgh Steelers opponent from this past weekend, the Buffalo Bills, who are picking up Darius Slay. So Slay off to Buffalo. Might as well have just gotten on the team flight with them out of Pittsburgh Sunday night had we known this was going to happen. So Slay, he is off to Buffalo. do have a good feeling, oddly enough, about Slay going to the Bills, because I think we talked about it last night, how one of these other teams out there that are in a better spot than the Steelers, he's going to go to a team that's fairly deep at corner, and he's going to be put in some advantageous spots and not be a, starter type guy like what he was here in Pittsburgh. He's going to go there, going to be behind Tre'Davious White, Christian Benford, Maxwell Hairston, been dealing with injury for the Bills, but he'll be getting some snaps over Slay. Slay's only going to be there at certain moments in the game that will best suit his talents at his age. So he is off to Buffalo. Good luck to big play Slay there. Two other things here related to the Steelers today. Apparently there was a rumor floating out there that Art Rooney left the Steelers game early on Sunday. No idea where that rumor came from, but if y'all saw it, that rumor has now been proven false. Burt Lawton, Steelers PR guy, which it's a big deal if he's the one coming out and talking about it. He said, my sources, which includes myself and every media outlet, coach, and player that saw him walk through the post-game locker room, can't confirm he didn't leave the game early. That is blatantly false. So Art Rooney, fans are going to criticize him, cannot use the arrow that he left and walked out on the team early Sunday. And the last thing related to the Steelers here today, Steelers got the Cleveland Browns one more time on their schedule this season. Will it be Dylan Gabriel at quarterback? Will it be Shedeur Sanders? Who knows? Now let's add in a third option, Deshaun Watson, back in practicing for the Cleveland Browns in his 21-day practice period to come off of IR. Imagine Shedeur Sanders, still keeping the Browns at least somewhat relevant with what he does. What if they just, pull the rug from under Shedeur and put the one of the highest paid quarterbacks in NFL history back in there, and he faces the Steelers near the end of the season? That'd be crazy. Deshaun Watson coming back for Cleveland. First time mentioning, besides the announcement of the Penn's Lightning game live stream tomorrow night, first time we've mentioned the Penguins here this evening. Practicing again today at the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex before they flew out of Pittsburgh down to Tampa this afternoon. Noel Acciari, Justin Brazeau, two injured forwards for the Penguins, still progressing, still looking like they could be coming back soon for the black and gold. They were practicing this morning at the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex, and they were wearing normal, regular contact jerseys. That is a good sign that they will be coming back here soon. Not practicing today for the Penguins, though. Anthony Mantha been playing well recently. He took a maintenance day today. Una Koppanen, he was sick for the Penguins, so those two not practicing today. Hopefully Koppanen, now sick. Hopefully other players are able to protect themselves from whatever illness he has and that he doesn't get anyone else sick before tomorrow's game. Head coach Dan Muse for the Pens today said Acciari, Brazeau, Koppanen, Mantha, all those guys that I just mentioned, they will all travel with the team on this upcoming road trip. So maybe we do get to see at some point here on this road trip, Brazeau and Acciari get back into the lineup. Penguins schedule here coming up, of course, in Tampa tomorrow night. They will then travel to Dallas for a matchup with the Stars. That is going to be Sunday night after the Steelers game. And then they will be back home on Tuesday, December 9th, with a date with the Ducks. So that is a look ahead for the Penguins. Wrapping up the extra Pittsburgh sports news today with some Pittsburgh Pirates talk again. Still, right now, just speculations and talks about who the Pirates could be targeting and who their best fits would be on the free agent market and the trade market. Hopefully some of these rumors and speculations will be put to rest and put to bed, whether they become true or not, starting this weekend when the MLB winter meetings begin. Kyle Schwarber, he was brought up again today by John Heyman, does work for, I believe, the New York Times and I think even the Athletic. Heyman saying the Pirates, they are still in on Philadelphia Phillies DH Kyle Schwarber. Still a long shot. Schwarber becomes a Pirate, but at least someone out there is still saying, hey, the Bucks are doing their due diligence, are targeting at least a bigger bat in a higher tier than what they normally operate. Bad news, though, on the Schwarber front is that the Pirates, they are not alone. Boston Red Sox still in on him. The Philadelphia Phillies, they're in on him as well. And add on a new team within the past 24 hours, and I absolutely despise this team even more than I already do. The Cincinnati Reds, according to Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic and Foul Territory TV, he's saying the Reds' serious interest in Kyle Schwarber. That would drive me up a wall if the Reds are able to do this. Last year, I think one of the bigger guys I wanted the Pirates to go after when they still, had a massive black hole at first base was Pete Alonso. Of course, the Pucks didn't even try at Alonso. The Reds, they swooped in last second trying to make a substantial offer to Alonso, and I think they came in second or third to the Mets and another team. Now, could they be doing that again this year, swooping in front of the Pirates, swooping in front of a couple of other teams to maybe try to land Schwarber? That would drive me nuts, not just because the Pirates probably will look at it if they don't get Schwarber and say, oh, you didn't get serious enough with a team in your own division going after a guy you wanted, but also short ballpark down the right field line where the Reds play, short porch at PNC Park as well. Schwarber, left-handed hitter in those ballparks would be terrifying, and I would absolutely hate it if he goes to the Reds. Also, just talking about guys who the Pirates could be interested in. Josh Harrison on the new Bucko Territory podcast with the aforementioned Noah Hiles from a couple of minutes ago. He said that JT Realmuto, catcher for the Phillies, he should be a top target for the Pirates. Realmuto brings some maturity, some leadership to the clubhouse. That is what Harrison said on the podcast there. I wouldn't mind Realmuto. Bring him in, have him be your one as that veteran. Let him try to lead the way a little bit for a still young, though sputtering right now, Henry Davis. You got Rafael Flores as well, who you acquired via trade last year at the deadline. Don't want to put too much on his plate at such a young age as well. So, hey, maybe you bring in Realmuto, pay him on a 2-year deal where you can get out of it after 1 year, pay him a couple of $1 million. I would love that to add JT Realmuto. And the last thing, ESPN, I believe this is separate from the article that came out yesterday from ESPN listing the top 25 trade candidates. ESPN today coming up with some mock trades, and they came up with a Mitch Keller trade. ESPN predicting Keller being sent across the country to the San Francisco Giants in exchange for a first baseman. Now, hoping if you deal Keller, you get back a bat of his caliber, maybe someone like I don't know, a Nathaniel Lowe, something like that for Mitch Keller. Instead, ESPN has the Bucks dealing Keller for top first base prospect, I should say, of the Giants, Bryce Eldridge. Now, I don't know Eldridge a whole lot here, but David Schoenfield of ESPN noted that Eldridge would be difficult to pry away for the Giants from the Giants. So if the Giants, they're holding on to someone that tightly, then I'll maybe warm up to it a little bit. But I still would like to get a real live bona fide MLB bat for Mitch Keller, some guy who you can pencil into the lineup opening day and not need to worry about him, getting the Bucko flu and hitting 160 all of a sudden. So That's the latest there on Pittsburgh Pirates, and that will do it for the extra Pittsburgh sports news for today. Back to the comment section real quick. 11 of you in here right now, and looks like we have made it. I see Flacco, I see Concepts there. We have made it past 650 subscribers on the channel, up here to 651. Thank you to the 2 new subscribers who subscribed while we are live here tonight. I appreciate it very, very much. So thank you for that. Much love. Next stop, 700. On our way to 1,000 here on the channel. Some more comments from you guys on this whole YA Black matter. Magic, not a fan of YA, belly hanging every damn where. Yeah, he does. And didn't even the Steelers post that gif of him from the preseason doing the whole belly rub thing? He is big and slow, yes, but could he maybe develop a little bit more into his body and boost his stamina as the years go along? I'm not going to roll that out. Concepts here. Got to go troll Slay on his podcast now. Joking, of course. Good luck with your stolen $10 million. Yeah, on his way up to Buffalo, where the weather only gets colder, does Slay. Have YA Black yoga, LOL. He will slim down and get quicker. Have YA doing yoga. I would pay money to see him do yoga like that. That would be absolutely hilarious to watch. Concepts here. DJ Reed, Carlton Davis, Shavarius Ward, etc. In hindsight, who do you think we should have targeted instead of Slay? Byron Murphy, too, but he stayed in Minnesota. Yeah, hindsight 2020, all those guys I would have loved for the Steelers to sign at corner in the offseason, but obviously they got paid massive amounts of dollars that I don't think the Steelers were willing to shill out in free agency. Maybe that changes this time around because looking at the corner room now, you're back down to having Joey Porter Jr. and a bunch of question marks. Jalen Ramsey, he's now back, I think, fully as a safety. I doubt he moves back to corner in the offseason. You got Darius Slay is gone. Asante Samuel, he's just 1 game old here with the Steelers. Maybe he shows something in the final 5 games of the season, but it would have to be a lot to prove that he's going to be a number 2. And then, I mean, James Pierre, Brandon Echols, they're having good years, but are you going to rely on them to keep up this production all over the offseason heading into next season? I'm not. So maybe the Steelers, with more cap space, by the way, maybe they will be able to go out and be willing to spend more money on guys like DJ Reed, Carlton Davis, Travarius Ward. I have no idea who would be available, but who knows? Maybe that could be something to look at down the line. Like a great point. Year 2 will be insane. Have a good one. Have fun at the game if you go, says Concepts right there. Let's see here. What else we got? Flacco on vacation. Have fun there on vacation, Flacco. Agreed, they did get overpaid, in my opinion. I thought that in March when they were signed. And those teams may be regretting those deals. I think they're all hurt with guaranteed money. Yeah, DJ Reed, he's been hurt up there in Detroit. Carlton Davis, hasn't he been a tiny bit solid when he's healthy for the Patriots? And then Travarius Ward. My thoughts and prayers for Travarius Ward. He's been dealing with injury, and I've seen off his social medias other stuff he's doing that's going on with his family. So, yeah, a lot of money for those guys not to be around all the time. But, hey, who knows? Maybe the Steelers finally go big game hunting and at that position, unlike what they've done before. Though I have that feeling they'd look at that type of thing until after the draft. They're going to see what comes of that. Let me look up here real quick. See what there's a list of pending free agent corners for 2026 free agency here. Nope. 2026. Let's see here. Okay, on Spotrac here. all positions. Let's go corner. Jamel Dean in Tampa. He's a UFA. He's going to be up. Having a solid year down there in Tampa, I believe. Though I think he'll just stay. And yikes, not much beyond that. Darius Slay, Jonathan Jones, Greg Newsome, Tre'Davious White. Watch them go the Tre'Davious White route. Dude made a nice couple plays against the Steelers on the wrong side of 30. Watch, they'll go after Tre'Davious White in the offseason. Can't wait to see that one. Alontae Taylor's going to be available maybe. They cut him loose from New Orleans. I think he was a trade deadline candidate. Rasul Douglas down there in Miami. Not what he was in Green Bay. Cam Taylor, Britton, Cincy. He might get a little bit of payment there from Cincinnati because they got to keep someone on that defense. Martin Emerson. Yeah, not much on the free agent market at corner. So we'll see what they do. Maybe someone gets cut loose and they can pick him up that way, like what they did Slay. 49ers voided Ayuk's money in 2026 and beyond, pretty sure. Apparently not communicating with the team during rehabilitation from the injuries. Thankfully, Omar never raised his trade offer. Agreed to their concepts. Well, you can also make the argument, would the Ayuk in San Francisco right now be the same Ayuk here in Pittsburgh? Would he have gotten hurt if he was a Steeler? That's, some answers for the multiverse here. But, hey, Brandon Ayuk, 2026 money voided, heading for a breakup there in San Francisco. Can't hurt giving a shot on him this offseason if you don't address wide receiver seriously in the draft again. I'd be willing to take a low-risk, high-reward shot on Ayuk. Feel like we sign guys that get turnovers, strips, and INTs, but can't tackle. That's valid. I mean, Joey Porter Jr. getting better as a tackle, but really wasn't all that when he was drafted. He was mainly just a guy using his extension to bat down passes. Darius Slay, got the nickname Big Play Slay for a reason. Jalen Ramsey, though, when he was still a corner, at least they did get a guy that could get those interceptions and can tackle because he is just a dog like that. And Asante Samuel right now currently filling the number 2 role. He is not that big of a tackler at 5'10". Agreed, everything happens differently in different situations. He's definitely regretting not being traded. I don't think he's regretting not being traded. He got his money. I think he's regretting how injuries and his usage in San Francisco have gone since getting paid, though. I think that's regretting there. That's what he's regretting there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, going to take one last stroll here through Twitter before we log off here tonight. See if we got any last pieces of information, and we do here. Got an injury update from Penguins general manager Kyle Dubas on some Pens players. Justin Brazeau, Noel Acciari, who we just mentioned, will make the road trip for the Penguins. They are now roughly 7 to 10 days away from getting back on the ice. Ricard Raquel, though, still a while out, 3 to 4 weeks for Raquel before he returns from his hand surgery. So those are even a more in-depth updates. Those are even more in-depth updates on Penguins injuries. Also, just got this news right when we went live. I did not mention it in the extra Steelers news segment of the program. Ravens and tight end Mark Andrews agreeing on a 3-year, $39.3 million contract extension, $26 million guaranteed. Remember when Mark Andrews was being rumored as a cut candidate for the Ravens because they had Isaiah Likely and he had that massive drop last year in the playoffs? Now look at him. Turned it around, and he is a beast again for the Ravens. My worry, though, is that the Steelers, earlier in the season, you saw them have issues covering the tight ends in the middle of the field. They've been better at it for a solid, month stretch or so now. I'm worried now that Andrews is all of a sudden going to reopen that gaping wound like every other wound on the Steelers defense right now. Let's see here, is there anything else? See another signing in the MLB there. Nothing from the Pittsburgh Pirates yet. No real signings from them. There is a outfielder off the board that I think could have been linked to the Pirates. Cedric Mullins, outfielder, formerly with the Baltimore Orioles, and then I think he got moved at the deadline to the New York Mets. He agreeing on a 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Rays. Now that's a type of deal that I would have liked the Bucks to make. Get you a guy who has been that before, could maybe be a starter, but a guy who would be a solid fallback option if you don't get the guy you want. Could have used him. Anything else here before we log off here tonight? I'm sorry, I'm distracted here. I'm seeing a video of Mike Tomlin's son, Dino, posting a video calling out Kevin Adams and Jerry the Kid of the Steel Here podcast to a boxing fight. Holy hell. Does that mean I'm next? Does that mean some son of a Steeler is going to call me out to a boxing fight if I criticize them? Is all of a sudden is a family member of Juan Thornhill or something going to call me out to a boxing fight? Jeez, that's one of the weirder things that I've read on Twitter in quite some time. The son of a head coach in football calling out a Steeler podcaster to a boxing fight. See your comment there, Concepts. If it's got a payday with it, I'll do it. But still, just very weird. That threw me off a bit. All right, wrapping up with your comments here for the evening. Feels like we signed guy. Okay, read that comment there. Sorry about that. Flacco, Ramsey isn't playing his position, so he's relearning safety. Can't be upset at Ramsey. No, not upset with Ramsey at all at safety. You like him back at safety. Just can the Steelers help him out in the secondary? Would like to see that more. Never expected the Ravens to extend Mark Andrews. He Watson back at practice. I hope he plays here. Hope he plays against the Steelers, honestly, because that would be very fun. Andrew will retire. Hey, F the Raven. Yeah, crazy that he got an extension. How quickly things can turn in a year. I thought Isaiah Likely was going to surpass him and never look back, and how the turntables have turned. Lance 3-3 here. What's going on, Lance? Shout out from Mon Valley. Got your back if it's on. Got your back. I'll get into some sort of a boxing shape. I got a friend who boxes. I'll get in the gym with him before I do it. At least give me somewhat of a chance. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I think that is going to wrap things up here this evening. Thank you all for joining me throughout the week here in this setting, getting through all of the Pittsburgh sports news. This was fun. Just one last time. Come on by tomorrow night. Penguins versus Tampa Bay Lightning. We will be live for that game. The Pens down in Flacco's neck of the woods. First time doing a Penguins game day live stream in a little while. So that should be fun tomorrow night, especially with the Pens coming off a ass kicking of the Philadelphia Flyers. So excited to see that tomorrow night. Off Friday, there might be an SESR 60, but we will see. And then we will reconvene on here Sunday for Steelers versus Ravens. That should be I don't know what to expect, to be honestly. It will be fun. It'll be devastating. It'll probably be both in one anymore with this team. We'll, commentate and react to the game live then, and then we'll meet back in this setting back here on Monday. So thank you all. Real quick last comment here from Lance. What time does the live go off? Talking about tomorrow for Penguins Lightning. That'll probably be about 10 till 7, if I had to guess. The live stream will go live. We'll do a little bit of pregame talk before puck drop, stuff like that. So, come on by here tomorrow night for Pens and Bolts. That one should be fun. For the last time here tonight, on your way out, please subscribe to the channel. Just past 650 here on the channel. We are at 651, so on our way to 700, and we'll just keep on climbing as the days move along. So thank you all. Subscribe, turn on notifications, like, share, leave a comment on your way out. Go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and come back a little bit later on for SCSR 60. Have a good rest of your night, ladies and gentlemen. Back here tomorrow for Penguins versus Lightning. Think we might be off Friday. Back on again Sunday for Steelers Ravens, and then back here in this form on Monday, recapping a whole lot to talk about between now and then. Have a good rest of your night. Be easy, everyone. Have a great time. Hit that like button and subscribe button on your way out. Peace.